Right now,
What are you shopping around for?
I need a place where I can go and get open drills in on the reg, and that's going to work with my schedule, and I respect the instructors. Those are the biggest sticking points for me.
Okay, so the scheduling is easy to figure out,
Yeah.
right? But the respecting the instructor thing, I mean, there's no way you can get an idea of that individual just hopping in there. There's no way you can get an idea of that individual going in there for maybe a month. You know what I mean? It's something that you kind of learn over time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
Yeah, and
But at least you have a lot of good options.
yeah, there's options, and to be quite honest with you, Uncle Steve, because of the way I grew up wrestling and, you know, being a little accomplished on that side of things, I'm not going to say I have an ego about things. I definitely do, but I just have a certain way I think that stuff can be done and how I'm going to learn the best. And that always doesn't go with how people teach or how they structure jiu-jitsu, because jiu-jitsu is structured way differently than how wrestling is. But I know for me to get the best out of being there, I have to do way more drilling than going live, because my body can only handle so much going live. And unfortunately, I have a really strong opinion on training. So it's really hard for me to kind of bow down to that, especially when I feel like, okay, you might be a black belt and have this area down, but all my other information leads me into not thinking I know more than you, but I just have a strong opinion on how I feel about things. And because of my experience at 10th Planet Oceanside and my experience at other schools, I'm not willing to back down from that anymore, because I've backed down from that before and I've seen how that turned out. Yeah, at 10th Planet Oceanside, I learned a shit ton, but I knew 6 months before I got hurt that I had achieved everything I could achieve from that particular coach and that particular school. But being so caught up in the social side of things and you know, kind of the hierarchy of it, I got caught up in that and I lost sight of the purpose, and that's when all the issues happen. So in finding another school, obviously I'm not going to be able to figure that out in a week or 2 weeks, but finding a home where I settle myself down, and that's something I'm highly have to consider.
Okay, you say you have a very strong opinion about how to train. What is that opinion? Would you be able to give me like a bullet point version?
Just all right. I honestly think, like, if there's 2 or 3 moves we're learning that day, we need to constantly be flowing those moves. I think you only really need to go, once you have your skill set, you only really need to be going live 1 to 2 days a week, and you can focus all that other time on drilling and preserving your body, opposed to every day you're going in there, you're learning 2 or 3 moves or kind of half-ass drilled, and then you go live for 45 minutes to an hour. That's great, and you're going to get way better just going live and going hard, but you're going to reach a ceiling really quick, and once you get to that ceiling, what are you going to do when you're not getting any better, because you're just going hard the whole time?
Yeah. So classes there were 2 hours long?
Yeah, like an hour drill, an hour going live, yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, we have hour classes, so it's like basically we only go live every class at like with 10, 15 minutes left, so we get like 2 or 3 rounds in. But it's interesting. I look at jiu-jitsu just the same way I look at education, right? Like, and I think because we do 2 or 3 moves a class, I'm like, wouldn't it be more beneficial to teach one move and spend the entirety of the class drilling that one move?
Right.
Wouldn't that be more beneficial, right? Because the only way you're going to learn it is really kind of by doing it.
Over and over.
You know what
and
I mean?
over.
Yeah, and then you have there's information overload, there's sensory overload when you go to do like each move and remember each move, you know?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy, dude. It's crazy. And I'm like, man, there were times where like my professor would travel, because he travels a lot for seminars, and one of the coaches will teach a class, and they'll go over like a basic sweep or sweep, and then a move off of that sweep. So while it's 2 moves, it's 1 move, and then like for the remainder of the class, like 20 minutes, a half an hour, we drill that. Like that's what's up. That specific training, like that's how I get better But like I get caught up in the sparring, man. I love it. Everyone's like, hey man, you want to roll? And I go in like today, open mat. I'm gonna go in, but with the intentions of drilling for at least 45 minutes. But then somebody will be like, hey man, you want to roll? And I'm gonna be like, yes I do. And then I'll get off track and lose my focus, But that's interesting. Have you ever butted heads with any of your coaches? Or
every single one of them.
I mean, me.
Really?
I mean, me and Gio always. But it wasn't necessarily me going up to him and voicing like, "Hey, like we do the same thing every day." It was more someone else asking me or him asking me, and then not liking the answer that I would respond with. But like I said, I don't think we should be doing the same thing every day. I think every day should be different, and you should be tapping into a different stimulus every day to get the benefits of being on the mat every day. If you're just doing the same thing every day, you're just going to reach a level and then not get anywhere from that. And I've seen that in other avenues in my life. That's why I'm so passionate about that and so outspoken about that. But yeah, I've definitely butted heads with coaches.
So what do you mean the same thing every day? What is it that they do?
So if you're going in every day, you're drilling for an hour, and then you're going live for an hour. And pretty much that looks one or two different ways. If they were going live, it was, guard pass drill, and then maybe at the end doing like 2 or 3 matches. Or you were doing Eddie Bravo overtimes where someone was on your arm or someone was on your back, and you were doing that for an hour. And, that gets taxing on the body when you're defending arm bars for 45 minutes. You need to do that because that's part of the competition, and that's part of getting better at submission-only grappling. But over time, doing that for 2 weeks straight, nothing live, your neck, your arm, everything's going to be beat up. So why not go in one day, work on certain live positions? You start off in other live positions, you do that. Other days you go in and you just wrestle, or other days you go in and you just work on getting someone off your back, or you work on holding on to someone's back, opposed to just doing the same type of live situations every day.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so you're talking about like position training. I believe we call that specific training, the same shit, right?
Yeah.
So you get in a position like if we're gonna work, side mount escape, or regaining guard from side mount. So everybody's gonna start, in side mount, and then you got to work your way out of it. And we just do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we switch. And that shit's important, man. That shit's important.
100%, and that was just part of kind of what I learned from wrestling and what I've learned from Jiu Jitsu, and kind of putting them together and kind of having how I see a class can be structured. And that's a hard thing too, wanting to be a teacher and being at a school where you're not in the hierarchy, so you can't be a teacher. And I am convinced that teaching Jiu Jitsu makes you way better at Jiu Jitsu.
Wow. Never thought about that. I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, because
I don't see it because I can't see it because I'm a white belt, so I don't.
Well,
I certainly don't have the experience.
Just think about when you're trying to structure a class, right? Just to teach your exercise class, right? You have certain points you have to go over. You have to outline it, right? So if you have to outline a class based on a certain move, you're going to look at that move way different for when it comes into your jiu-jitsu game.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
So, Uncle Steve, I could talk to you all day about jiu-jitsu and life, but we got 2 minutes. We've crushed this time. I'm pretty stoked on it. So before we get you out of here, if there's anything that the people need to know, anything you want the world to know, put it out there now.
Airey Brothers are the best. Some of the best humans I know. And never forget the purpose. Stay true to the journey. Don't get lost in the sauce. And, man, I don't know, man. Stay up. That's it, dude.
Remember that you love this.
That's it, man. Never fucking forget. Never forget you love it, man.
I love it.
Never.
Feel like I got a little bit of pep in my step. Maybe I had a couple shots of espresso served up by Uncle Steve. Always a pleasure to talk with you. Yeah, I definitely feel fired up and motivated, so we appreciate you coming on and taking time out of your day. Hope you have a wonderful jiu-jitsu practice this evening, and yeah, let's try to do this more often, my friend.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate it, man. I'm amped for jiu-jitsu right now, so I'm putting my contacts in right now, and I'm about to head over there. Fired up.
Hell yeah, Uncle Steve. I'm stoked. I'm going to be skipping on the trail on the way home. You better believe that.
That's what's up. All right, y'all. Be safe, man.
You too.
Be
Much
epic.
love.
Later, brothers.
Later.